Welcome to Community Chat. This is a special version of Community Chat as it is town election time of year, and it's that time where we have a chance to sit down and chat with folks who are running for various offices in the town of Abington. We have 3 races that are contested come April 29th, this Saturday. Voting being done at the Beaverbrook Elementary School. We have a school committee, we have a select board, and we have planning board. Joining us today is Michelle Kearney, and she is a candidate for planning board. Michelle?
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Welcome back. I know you were here last year.
Yep.
For folks who may or may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Michelle Kearney. I grew up in Abington my whole life. I went through the school systems back when they were all different. I played sports here and everything. After that, I went to Quincy College and Suffolk University, where I studied in the legal field. I'm a paralegal, and I just really want to start giving back to the town.
What is it about the planning board? What motivated you to want to run for this seat? And again, you were a candidate last year for the same board.
Yep.
What's motivating you to run again this year?
I think that for as long as I can remember, I've seen all the changes going on within the town, and I feel like within the last couple of years, there have been more changes than I can remember. And I really just want to be a part of those changes. The decisions we make today, they're going to affect the town in the years to come, and even when forever, basically, they're going to have such an impact, and I think those need to be really carefully considered, and I would like to be a part of that.
Okay. What kind of knowledge and experience would you say you bring to the planning board?
Well, like I said, I'm paralegal, and that has taught me to be very thorough, deliberate, and I think that those are both important qualities to have as a member of the planning board. Every decision should be educated, informed, and deliberate, because again, they're going to have such impacts in the years to come. And also, in the legal field, you have to come up with sometimes all these different solutions to a single problem and consider it really from every angle imaginable, and I think that that's important. Another important quality to have, and also you have to put the client first, which in this case would be the town and the residents.
Okay. The town's master plan. Town has a master plan on file. Give me your thoughts on it, and how often should it be updated?
So my thoughts on the master plan, in concept, it's a good idea. I think that we have a lot in there that we haven't achieved yet, and I think some of the things may not be achievable as they were when it was last revised. So I think that we should be constantly updating it with all the changes going on, just constantly updating it and working towards those. I know there's the short-term and long-term goals, but I think that they should always be reviewed, maybe annually at least reviewed. Doesn't have to be changed, but.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about development in town. Give me your thoughts on the current and future residential and commercial development in town.
I think we have a lot of commercial development, and we should focus more on, I don't want to say residential, but possibly mixed use more so, because we could allow for housing and also businesses and generate revenue in the town that way. And like I said, all the things that we plan now, have an impact in the years to come. So we really need to take that into consideration and look more towards the future, I guess.
Okay. Abington shares the former Naval Air Station with Weymouth and Rockland, and it now has a new master developer who has been selected. What are your thoughts on having yet another master developer selected and a proposed reuse plan for Southfield?
I think that having a new developer selected is great. I like that there is a board now between the Weymouth, Rockland, and Abington, and as far as I can remember, the general use plan now, it doesn't have exact numbers, but it's for some open space, housing, stores, and I think that starting to develop newer plans like this one is good, and hopefully we actually break ground on it in the near future.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on the MBTA and Route 3 zoning and the impacts that it'll leave on Abington? I know it's been a big concern about developing around the commuter rail train station. What's your thoughts on that zoning?
I know the final regulations came out. I have not reviewed them yet. I actually meant to do it this morning, but from what I remember from the draft, there are a lot of ambiguities because we have the commuter rail stop, so it requires so much housing within so many feet of that. But if the land in that immediate vicinity is, for one reason or another, unbuildable, like wetlands or something along those lines, then in the draft anyways, it said that the town could designate other areas in the town. So because we already have some multi-unit housing, it was unclear whether or not we could designate that as to satisfy the 3A or not. But I think if we are careful and deliberately choose where they are, those areas are designated, that it wouldn't have too much of an impact, especially if the houses and properties already built are considered in the overall number.
Okay. What steps should the board take when it comes to encouraging economic development?
I think that we should really focus on revitalizing what we have, redeveloping the centers. Like Whitman Center, I love that. They have all the little storefronts, and a lot of them have apartments up top, which will generate revenue through businesses and homeowners or renters, property owners, whatnot. But I think that rather than focus on these large-scale developments, we should really attract smaller businesses and like local mom and pop shops. A lot of communities rely on those to for their economic well-being, to generate revenue through the town.
Put yourself in the role that you're on the board and you need to find some middle ground between a development and any environmental concerns. What's your thought process when it comes to trying to make a decision that's going to be equitable and fair for everybody, but yet find a solution?
It's definitely important to find a healthy balance because you don't want to anger one side and not the other. A good compromise is when both parties walk away a little unhappy, but I think we have a lot of, not commercial land, but a lot of spaces that could be better used and not have such an impact on the environment. For example, the land between Route 18 and Route 58, that has a lot of already cleared space. So if we put that to good use, we could still allow for a commercial development without we wouldn't be clearing any trees, or it wouldn't have any adverse effects as much as if we just cleared a lot and did it there. So it's hard to find a healthy balance, but it's also important to save the trees and the greenery and the environment as much as possible, because again, it's gonna, in the future and years to come, that's gonna have the biggest impact, I think.
So I would ask you, well, what steps do you think the board can take to mitigate the impacts of growth on the town's resources?
I probably sound like a broken record, but let's use what we have before adding new developments. And I know the water is probably the worst. I couldn't believe we were still in a water ban, but the more developments we add, the more that's going to impact resources like the water. So I think for that one anyways, we should slow down on adding anything new. I think the water is the most important one. But
is there a question that you haven't been asked during this session, but you feel that's important for folks to get a better understanding as to who you are and what your addition to the planning board would mean?
Not necessarily a question, but if I could, I would just like to add that I think it's important that, you know, we get the town more involved, especially the younger generations, or not that younger, because I'm only 33, but I mean, get those generations involved because it's going to affect them the most. And I really just think, I mean, I would love term limits, but that's just me. But yeah, that's all I can think of.
Okay. If folks want to find out more about you, if they want to reach out to you, how could they do that? I'm
on Facebook, Michelle Kearney, or Michelle Kearney for Planning Board, either one. They could email me. My email is michelle.kearney2023@gmail. Or if you know someone who knows me anyway, I'm very approachable.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you for joining us for this discussion. And we want to thank you at home for tuning in to these discussions. Again, the idea is to better inform you about the folks who are running for office on the townwide ballot. That is going to be, the election is April 29th down at the Beaverbrook. If you're not sure in regards to information when it comes to voting, visit the town clerk's office. It's just that easy. And until our next conversation, have a good day.